Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Going Medieval. So we actually have quite a bit of new features today. We started with the latest update. They added a whole bunch of visual effects, performance improvements, and a whole bunch of other mechanics that should help with the game that I think the community has actually requested quite a few times over on their Discord server. So we'll be taking a look at that. As you can see, there's little grass now. It's a visual effect. One of the things that have changed in the game is there's a vent that basements can actually flood. So we're just putting in some, what do you call it, like wood walls, and that should help with the flooding if it decides to flood at any point in time. We're gonna have to do that all the way up the staircase as well, so that's gonna take a little bit of time to do, but we did get it done. Another nifty feature that they added was a seasonal period. So basically you can have like a sowing period where settlers will actually plant crops and stuff. Before, what happened was they just constantly sowed and you had to actually disable each individual field. But now you can actually just select which period and for each field that you want. So it really helps with when you need to plant stuff. After getting the basement all finished, we started mining out the staircase area and filling it in with wooden walls. For now, this will have to do until we can get something a little bit better. But yeah, we have quite a bit of levels to do to finish this project before we can start working on something a little bit different. Actually, I recorded a lot of the video early on of just doing the basement, so I recorded a little bit more later on. We did get a new settler, so this person is pretty good with some things. They have a few different passions and stuff. One is in mining and cooking, so really passionate about mining. So we did accept them because we can always use a good miner and help with the resources that we'll eventually need to accumulate later on. So I did accept them. After that, we started working on some more armor, and we were challenged with a battle, but I'm pretty sure we're fine with this faction, so I just declined it. Some of the settlers got disappointed for not accepting it, but honestly, I didn't want to take on this for some person not having good enough skills for anything, so we just kind of ignored that. But we were making some armor, so that will be helpful later on. So after that, we started working on a complex for a new building. This building's a little bit off to the behind our structure. Reason being, this one is going to be for a multi-use purpose one. So basically we're going to have like a workshop on the first ground floor and then a couple bedrooms on the upper floor. And I figure we'll be using some stone and other things to build it up. So I started working with some of the other blocks that I'm familiar with. Some of the changes that they have with building is the walls and stuff will actually align with other similar walls. So basically it makes it a little bit more easier to build things. It's not directly on the same axis as it was before. It was just a dedicated direction. Now it will actually rotate. Things like fences and a lot of other blocks and stuff like that will actually do that now. So as far as what I'm going to do for this particular building is I'm going to have Angus and probably Lee in this particular building here. And that will give a farmer as well as our textile person a place which will have a textile shop down below on the ground floor. So everything will be pretty localized for these two people. And I'm even thinking about making a farm. So I decided to put the farm right next to here. We'll have to move our other farm for our other crops, but overall I think this will give us enough room and a nice place to actually build where we actually will have it close to the textile place so they can just bring it directly into the farm itself. Also, you can see that the fences rotate based on other fences. Another thing that they have actually done was improve the mechanics for the settlers on their tasks and stuff. Before it was kind of more random, but now they will actually prioritize things that are closer to where they need to do. So things like mining and stuff, they'll actually pre-plan where they need to mine without, you know, like getting stuck and stuff. So this has been so far really useful. After moving Lee and Angus into the bedrooms upstairs, opening up some more rooms for new settlers in the main building, what I started working on was getting the building for the workshops, the armory, and the couple tool shelves, as well as the other building for the clothing thing. And you can actually copy over things like the tasks, so it was pretty easy to set this up. But that wasn't all that we had to move over. We needed to move over the shelves for the textiles themselves. I figured we could put them in the little crevices here. That would probably work fine. And I also sorted out what kind of materials should go for each shelf, and I figure it was probably about time that we started separating things like leather and stuff. I generally like to keep things organized so it's easier to find and know what shelf is which. While we were waiting for them to move over the actual building over here, we did copy the settings, so we were able to go ahead and copy that part and move it over into the new location and just paste the settings in. This basically allowed us to copy the production queue. So while we were waiting for that, I just basically organized the shelves and made sure that things like leather and everything were set up and other things were organized. So I did plan out where the Flax Field will be going. I think it will be over here just fine, so we shouldn't have any issues regarding the sunlight or anything like that. I'm pretty sure we'll still get enough sunlight, and we'll decorate this up a little bit later on and make sure it has things that we need for the things like paths and other things for decoration, so we'll do that a little bit later. I also put a sign in just to kind of label what kind of farm it is, and we'll probably put a couple torches in as well just to kind of decorate and light up this area, because it does get a lot of shade from the building in the winter, so it shouldn't be a problem during the summer or spring. It should get enough sunlight overall, but having that sign, I don't really operate with signs too much generally, but having the sign there just to kind of label what kind of building it is and what it's for is really nice. Also, the game got new music. I actually purchased the soundtrack not too long ago, so I'll be playing without music and then basically adding it in later on, part of editing. And the other thing that we worked on was setting up a small defense tower just to kind of help with raids. It kept giving us a message that we needed to do that. We needed to build up our defenses, so I figured we would build a spot where we can battle at least, so just should be good enough for now. So another thing that we have is a couple other buildings unlocked for workspaces, and we have one for bows and woodworking now for weapons like spears and stuff. Another thing that we have here is a place where we can assign settlers or even assign specific skill levels for their tasks, and this can help with prioritizing better quality items while still allowing lower settlers to level up. We also didn't have a lot of food this year because of the delay in building the cellar, so we needed to get some animals, and thankfully the wolves have been busy, so we were able to collect some animal carcasses not too far away on the map. You might also notice the edge of the map is actually filled out and rendered now. There's actually forest and stuff behind there, though you can't actually go between in the darkened area, so you just see that as a part of like an expansion, but it's a nice little effect. And one of the other things that has changed is the skill tree. There's new icons and it's going down rather than sideways now, so this is a little bit easier to find things. It will take a little while for me to get used to the icons because I have been playing since the early betas and stuff like that, but it's a nice addition for sure. It's easier to visualize and it's more compact for sure now, so it's a nice little addition. I'm pretty happy with it. So that's all for today's video. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below, rate the video, let me know in the comments what you liked about it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.